I understand that you are the independent candidate for the next presidential elections in Uganda. You are campaigning for change.
The current regime is a repressive, dictatorial, authoritarian regime, which has lasted for 25 years, 2.5 decades, and it still thinks that it can continue to dominate the Ugandan people, marginalize millions out there, and ensure that it entrenches a family at the top and at the helm of our political system, of our governance. What we have is the family of Mr Museveni now is everything. Brothers and in-laws. Ugandans never have the opportunity to share in that government and to share in our natural resources. They are effectively, through the impunity of ultra nepotism and corruption, they have entrenched a monolithic one family Republican monarch, which relies on military might to oppress and the manipulation through corruption to ensure that every resource is denied other people except for the first family. The second aspect is they have turned our politics upside down. The country that used to believe in teamwork, shared vision, now it's a vision of one man and his family and individual merit. And it is that we need to change. It is that we need to change. Individual merit, which has ended up calling themselves the superhumans, Bengo in the local dialect, bulldozers, the big hammers, and that has infected and pervaded the entire society. We need to turn it around, once again believe in rebuilding institutions, and I say in teamwork and having a shared vision.
Thank you. Sir, this is Justin, I'm a reporter from South Africa. I would like to know, first of all, what is your role in this conference?
My name is Andrew Boff. I'm a member of the London Assembly and I'm the representative of the Conservative Party here this evening.
Okay, I understand you are here to support one of the presidential candidates in the forthcoming elections in Uganda.
Yeah.
What difference do you think this candidate will make compared to what Museveni is doing at the current moment?
Well, I think the advantage is because, of course, the candidate's going to be the head of a broad coalition. So after the election is over, and hopefully we have a new president of Uganda, there's going to be plenty of people to keep him to his word and to ensure that that president is bound by the laws of the country, as every other citizen should be. And if that were the case, then Uganda really would make a break with the precedent of some other African countries of getting a strong rule of law which binds the president as well as everybody else. So I'm quite optimistic that should the campaign prove successful, that we'll get a good outcome for Uganda and indeed Africa.
Thank you. Now, what is different this time to make sure that we're not going to have someone who could stay in power forever?
Well, I think it is that coalition. It is the fact that the people who would have elected that person will be constant pressures on them, and one would hope that they wouldn't just get elected and then forget all the people who got them into power, because that president is going to know that he's got a constituency of people behind him of differing views, not just one group, but of differing views. So that's the pressure that's going to be on them once they're in power. The temptations of power are very, very strong, and once you're there, you can take your own direction. Actually, with the support of the broad constituency that's taking place, I think the president will be very aware that they've got to do what Ugandans want him to do, not just what he wants to do.
Thank you very much. Now, the second question is that once someone is elected, what help can you give them so to actually become president?
The support the Conservative Party is giving in this campaign is one of electoral advice during the campaign.
Yes.
If the current incumbent refuses to leave, then this is a whole new ball game, and we need other agencies involved. We need the UN involved, but I think it should be African agencies themselves that actually put pressure on anyone who loses an election to respect the will of the people. I don't think certainly Europeans telling Africans what to do is going to work. I think Africans themselves should realise that they've got a future with the democratic process, and the pressure should come from within Africa.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. People can promise wonders to the population. What's different this time?
First and foremost, in our case, the Ugandan case, we've had this scenario before, just like everywhere. What we need this time around is to go back to the principle of statesmanship and patriotism, as opposed to the principle of serving individual egos and life. What in my language we say, Moyogwa Gwanga versus Moyogwa Nsimi. And once we go back to the spirit of our founding fathers, they wanted a Uganda which could be built or constructed on the three pillars. One, mutual respect, mutual trust, not suspicion as it is today, and the promotion of mutual interest. Then those three pillars will make every Ugandan feel proud that they are part of it, feel included, and at the same time ensure that each one of us is a stakeholder. Therefore, it is a give and take, and that will bring back the country to what it has to be. Number one, constitutionally, it will limit the term limits. Once again, the regime opened up this because they wanted to stay in power perpetually, creating that's something I call the Republican monarchism, which is not good for our country.
In the framework of development, Africa must develop as a whole. And for the current moment, the problem Africa is facing are multitude of wars around Uganda and so on. If you were to be elected, what would you do, for a sense, to make sure that we have peace in that region?
Peace in that region is to ensure that our foreign policy vision, if you want parallel, changes completely, shifts completely, is reversed. At this material time, our foreign policy is determined or goes at the whim of the president and what he thinks is right. So many other stakeholders should be brought in, and that foreign policy should serve our national security and regional stability and the greater interest of the people of Uganda that also cuts across the people of the region, and that is helping our people come out of poverty. Once we realize this, then that means that we shall do all it takes to ensure that we have good neighborliness and harnessing what will be good for our people in terms of comparative advantage. And if you're going to work for this, then you want to trade more with your neighbors. You want to ensure that you have good relations. You want to ensure that there is knowledge transfer across borders and for the benefit of your people.
Thank you. Thank you. What specific measures would you take, for instance, to appease the Democratic Republic of Congo? I think you said something about the decision which came from the International Court of Justice.
Yes.
What specific step would you take to make sure that you stabilize rapport with your big neighbor, the Democratic Republic of Congo, if you were to be elected tomorrow?
First of all, reassuring the Democratic Republic of Congo that we are not going to interfere. We are not going to export conflict from Uganda to them. That we have other strategic interests that are mutually beneficial to both governments and both peoples, and that we are there to guarantee their safety, not bring them the mayhem that we have brought to them. And in addition, I would like to negotiate out a deal where Ugandans are not going to pay for what they actually never committed. I know the ICJ has already put his verdict, but it is the government of Congo to compassionately think about the real Ugandans, whether they were involved in exporting the conflict, whether they actually committed these atrocities, if it were not those wrongly guided leaders who were selfish in their actions and who have also committed the same atrocities to the people of Uganda. So I want to find a balance, but it is all going to be aimed at relieving the strife that our people in Uganda, the Democratic Republic of Congo's people, that may have to suffer because of this kind of unfortunate happening that happened in the past, but the future generations are going to pay for.
Thank you very much. Now, what would you do if you were to be elected tomorrow and Yoweri Museveni said, I will not quit? What would you do?
Of course, I have decided to go around the country, taking my message for positive politics, a message for bringing Ugandans together and making everybody a stakeholder. I'm knocking every door, I'm going to every trading center, and the message I'm carrying of positive politics is liked by everybody. And by so doing, I'm mobilizing a bottom-up momentum, saying people power, that will enable us overcome the kind of repression that we have and dictatorial regime that we have. If they refuse to heed the people's voice, then that staying people power will do nothing other than the Orange Revolution that we had in Ukraine or something that has happened in other parts of the country.
Thank you very much. This concludes our interview with Mr. Samuel Lubega, the independent candidate for the forthcoming elections in Uganda. Justin reporting from Ilford, United Kingdom. Thank you.